I never imagined my own sister would lie so convincingly that she nearly ruined my life and almost got away with it. Sometimes, late at night, I wonder, how did it get this far? When did family stop being a safe space and turn into a battlefield? My name's David, 29 years old, the younger brother to Dove, who's just a year older than me but seems decades ahead in cunning. Everything you're about to read, it still feels surreal to me, like something out of a twisted family drama or a made-for-television movie. But it's real. All of it. And the truth is so much darker than I ever imagined. Dove always knew how to smile when eyes were watching and twist the knife when they weren't. We grew up in a quiet house outside Phoenix, where everything looked normal. But behind those dinners and radio tunes, she was already rehearsing her role, the perfect daughter. I was the cautionary tale. She lied with grace, stole with charm, and made me doubt my own memory. Looking back, I didn't lose my family all at once. My sister took the own look, one lie, one whisper at a time. The night Dove crowned herself, queen of the dinner table, wasn't loud or explosive. It was quiet, surgical, like watching someone thread a needle, smiling sweetly while stitching up your pride. She twirled her fork like it was a microphone. I aced my math test today, highest in the class. Mr. Evans said I might even tutor the juniors next semester. Then she looked at me. That sideways smile sugar-coated venom. "Oh, David, how'd you do? Did you even pass?" She already knew I hadn't. I'd brought home a 67, and it was still sitting in my backpack, burning a hole through my sense of worth. I managed to shrug. "Not as good as you." Mom sighed before I even finished. "David, if your sister can do it, why can't you? She's just a year ahead. You used to be good at math." Dad didn't speak, but his fork paused midair. That was enough. Dove tilted her head and scooped another bite of casserole. Then, almost too softly, "I could tutor him. You know, help him catch up." She said help the way someone says fix. My ears burned. My mouth said, "Sure, thanks, Dove." But my chest screamed, "Don't give her this win." Her eyes sparkled another point scored. And just like that, she was the golden child again, the helpful daughter, the role model. And me? I was the project. Dad grunted his approval. "That's a good idea." Mom beamed. "See, David? She's trying to help." I stabbed my casserole like it had insulted me. My appetite was gone, replaced with something sour and pulsing. That was the moment I realized it. Dove wasn't just naturally better. She engineered better. She staged it, timed it, built her image out of my inadequacy, and we handed her the spotlight every time. Later that night, I lay on my bed, the ceiling fan spinning too fast, my stomach still in knots. I texted James. She did it again, made me look like an idiot, and I smiled through it. He replied, "Bro, screw her. You're smart in your own way." I stared at that message for a long time, not answering, just holding it. Because deep down I wondered, what if she's right? What if I really am just the backup character in her story? That night wasn't about casserole or test scores. It was Dove's debut, and we all applauded. Dove returned home that weekend like she owned the house or perfume, announcing her arrival before the door even opened. Designer bags in hand, a grin too wide to be sincere. "James looks different," she whispered as he passed. "He got hot." My pulse skipped. He's always been James. "But you never said how close you two were," she teased, eyes sharp. "Is he, like, off limits?" I hesitated. "He's family, why?" She winked. "Just curious, don't worry, I won't steal him, unless he wants me to." It sounded like a joke. But it wasn't. The next day, she asked James to help her find something classy, not too flirty, for a scholarship dinner. What she found instead was a new audience. "I've just felt so unseen lately," she sighed in the dressing room mirror. "David doesn't really check in, not like you do." He didn't know she used that same script on Jeremy last year. By Sunday, James barely looked at me the same. Less eye contact, more questioning pauses. He asked if I was okay more than usual, like I was slowly becoming a case study. 2 weeks later, I noticed Dove's name pop up on James's phone. Again, at midnight. I stared. "You guys text a lot, huh?" He blinked, then looked away. "She's going through stuff. I'm just being a good friend." She always finds someone when she's going through stuff. You know that, right? James stiffened. "She's just venting. Not everything's a plan." But that was the thing. With Dove, it always was. I dropped it. What else could I say? That my sister was slowly making me look like a selfish ghost? I started counting the silences. Fewer texts. Shorter replies. James was slipping, and I was watching him fall, unable to say, "She's done this before, and she's doing it again." Thanksgiving looked perfect from the outside golden turkey, cinnamon candles, Dove dressed like she stepped off a magazine cover. She greeted James like he was her plus one. "I've told everyone how much you've helped me lately," she smiled, gripping his arm, "especially when things got overwhelming." Mom glanced at me, puzzled. "What things?" I didn't answer. Later, as Dove charmed relatives with stories of her overachiever life, she dropped it mid-pie slice. "James has been a lifesaver. I just wish David showed the same support." The table went still. My fork froze mid-air. Dad cleared his throat. "Maybe David's been busy." "Oh, I'm not blaming him," she said sweetly. "I'm just grateful James was there when my own brother couldn't be." She didn't need to scream to humiliate me. Just sprinkle doubt, tilt the spotlight, smile. I stared at my plate, heart pounding. James avoided my eyes. And in that moment, I realized Dove wasn't flirting anymore. She was erasing me. Is she really winning everyone over? Am I supposed to sit here and let her tarnish my name? Should I stand up and yell, "Stop lying right now"? Something in me snapped that night. I realized letting Dove keep controlling the narrative was only going to end in heartbreak. So I vowed, I won't let this slide anymore. At first, it was just one friend acting cold. Then two. Then a third started taking days to reply to texts that used to get instant laughs. I thought maybe I was imagining it. Until Kylamy, old neighbor and one of my closest friends, replied to my invite with just, "Things feel different, man. I don't know if I'm up for it." When I asked what was wrong, he sent a shrug emoji. Nothing else. That night, I couldn't sleep. I scrolled through my messages with James, with our whole group chat. I felt like an outsider in my own circle. And then it hit me, Dove. I started asking around, gently. Not accusing. Just asking. "Hey, has Dove mentioned anything weird about me lately?" Most dodged, but one finally cracked. "She said you've been pulling away, that you don't care anymore." I didn't want to believe it. Pulling away? I was the one left in the dark. Later, I found out she'd reached out to Anna after her breakup, offering tea and sympathy. Then she casually added, "David said you always make everything about yourself. But I defended you." To Kyle, she said I was annoyed by his emotional neediness. To Marcus, that I secretly thought his job was pathetic. Each lie was dipped in concern, framed like she was reluctantly protecting them from me. By the time I realized the extent of it, my friend group wasn't just distant, it was splintered. "Dove didn't need to scream," she whispered, and it worked. I drove to her apartment with shaking hands. I didn't even plan what I'd say. I just knew I couldn't sit in silence anymore. Her door was ajar. I knocked. No answer. Inside was like a curated Pinterest board lavender, gold accents, aesthetic throw blankets. Nothing in the place looked lived in, except her cross-legged on the couch, scrolling through her phone like nothing in the world was wrong. She didn't look surprised. "David, you could have texted." I ignored it. "Why are you lying about me?" She set her phone down slowly, tilted her head. "What exactly are you accusing me of now? You told James I use him. You told Anna I trash, talked her. You've been poisoning everyone against me." She let out a breathy laugh, like I was amusing. "If people believe that, maybe it says more about you." "Number, it says everything about you. You're playing the same game you did in high school." "Or maybe," she leaned forward, voice low, "I'm just a better friend than you ever were." I flinched. "You're not helping them. You're isolating me. You twist what I say, make me look like the villain." She stood, slow and deliberate. "You're spiraling. You sound unwell. Maybe people are pulling back for a reason." My voice broke. "I'm not imagining this. I know what you're doing, and I'm done letting you control the narrative." She smiled, cold and gleaming. "Then control it, if you can." I turned and left before I said something I'd regret. But as I stepped into the hallway, I heard that soft, mocking laugh echoing after me. 2 nights later, my phone lit up. "James? Hey, can we meet?" My throat tightened. "Yeah. When?" "Tomorrow. Diner. Just us." I didn't sleep. My mind cycled through every possible outcome. Was he going to end our friendship? Defend her? Confront me? But when he arrived, soaked from the rain, I saw something in his eyes I hadn't seen in weeks. Doubt and guilt. We ordered nothing, just water. He looked down at the table. She told me you thought I was stupid, that I was a pawn, that you only hung out with me because you felt bad for me. I stayed silent. And I believed her. For a bit, she's good at that, making you feel like you've seen something no one else has. He rubbed his face. But then she started slipping. Jealous if I saw you. Angry if I didn't text her back. She tracked who I hung out with. She even asked if I was talking about her with my own family. He met my eyes. That's not normal. That's control. My voice cracked. She does it to everyone, turns empathy into leverage. He nodded. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. I shouldn't have believed her. We sat in silence for a moment. Then I said it. She won't like that you're here. He gave a tired smile. I don't care. I'd rather lose her than lose myself. 2 days later, Mom called. Your sister said you stormed into her home. She said you scared her. I closed my eyes. Mom, I just wanted to talk. I never yelled. She twisted everything again. Her tone was clipped. David, she was crying. Do you know how hard it is for her to open up? She's not opening up. She's manipulating you. She's always had you wrapped around her finger. Silence. Then, don't talk about your sister like that. You've always been too sensitive. She's just trying to help. I felt the words before I spoke them. She's destroying my relationships, and you're defending her because it's easier than facing the truth. Mom's voice dropped. Sharp. You're becoming cruel. Your sister said you're shutting everyone out, that she tried to help and you threw it back in her face. I wanted to scream. She's gaslighting all of us. But Mom had already checked out. We raised you better than this. I'm disappointed. Click. I stood at the window, phone still in hand, watching rain drip down the glass. Everything felt familiar, the weight in my chest, the silence after confrontation. The cold realization that in my family, truth wasn't enough. You had to earn belief, and Dove already owned the stage. Stay away from David or else. That was the line that jolted James. The letter had no name, no return address, just a cold, typed threat that knew things no outsider should. Details about James's student loans, his breakup, even his mother's recent illness. It's her, James said. It's got Dove written all over it. The language, the timing, the obsession. It reeked of her. We took it to Tom, our friend in law school. He read it twice, face tight. This is harassment, and if it escalates, it's legally actionable. What if she denies it? I asked. That's why you document. Keep everything. I felt something click in Mia shift. The stakes were higher now. This wasn't just sibling rivalry. This was war. Dove took the next shot on Instagram. A pastel-colored text post, carefully crafted, designed to go viral. Sometimes the people closest to you are the ones who hurt you the most. I loved my brother. I tried. But now he's spreading lies, turning my friends against me. My heart is broken. The comments flooded in. You don't deserve this. Family can be the most toxic. Sending love, Dove. No names, no facts. But anyone who knew us knew exactly who she meant. James DM'd me. She's gone nuclear. I wanted to reply, let her burn. But Tom's voice echoed, document, don't react. So I screenshotted everything. Dad's voice had that don't argue with me tone. You and your sister, Sunday. No excuses. I arrived first. The house felt colder than usual. Mom paced like she already regretted this. Dad sat like a stone. Then Dove floated in, tears ready, hair curled, playing the picture of wounded grace. I've tried to be there for him, she sniffed. He barged into my apartment, and now he's turning James against me. Son, Dad said sternly, are you harassing your sister? No, I said, voice steady, but she's been sabotaging me for months. James even got a threatening letter. A letter? Mom gasped. You think Dove sent it? I pulled it out, printed, highlighted. Dove's eyes darkened. That's absurd. I'm being accused of a crime now? Her mask flickered. Just for a second, the cold flashed behind her eyes. David, maybe she felt threatened, Mom offered. You've always been sensitive. Enough, Dad barked. Apologize, both of you. Dove dabbed her tears. I'm sorry for any misunderstanding, but I won't admit to something I didn't do. I stood my ground. I'm not apologizing for telling the truth. Dad's jaw clenched. Mom looked like she'd break. And Dove? She smiled. That night, I didn't just leave my parents' house. I left the illusion that they'd ever really seen me. I'm recording her, James said. She keeps leaving voice messages. We need proof. I hesitated. That's risky. So is silence. Days passed. Then he showed up at my door, pale. Listen. Dove's voice, soft at first. James, you have to stop talking to David. Don't make me do something drastic. My stomach turned. That's a threat. And now we have proof. We didn't plan to use it, but we kept it, just in case. Dove hosted Dad's belated birthday bash. She invited everyone, cousins, neighbors, even James. You sure about this? I asked. You can't keep hiding, James said. Show up. So I did. The moment I walked in, Dove's smile stiffened. Oh, you made it. It's Dad's day. Of course I did. She clung to her curated circle, laughing too loudly, whispering too much. Then Dad tapped a glass. A toast to Dove for organizing this, and to family. Polite claps. She bowed like a princess. Thank you, Dad. It's my pleasure. Then a cousin chimed in. David, say something too. I swallowed hard. I'm glad to be here, and I need to say this. There've been lies, manipulations. I've been blamed for things I didn't do, and I have proof. Gasps, whispers. David, Mom warned. It's the perfect time, James said, stepping forward. He pressed play. Dove's voice filled the room. James, you have to stop talking to David. Don't make me do something drastic. The silence afterward was louder than the recording. Dove paled, then flushed, then snapped. Turn that off, that's private. You made it public the moment you lied, James replied. Dad stood. His voice was low but sharp. Is that you on the recording? Dove stammered. Then, I was protecting you all. David's unstable. Enough, Dad interrupted. You lied. You manipulated. I won't stand for it. A cousin murmured, That's messed up. And suddenly, the room turned. She scanned the Facesno. More support. No more allies. Just consequences. Her breath hitched. Her eyes welled. You're all ganging up on me. Then she fled heels, clacking up the stairs like a retreating army. And for the first time in years, I felt something real from my father. I'm sorry, he said quietly. We should have listened. I nodded. But inside I knew it wasn't over. Not yet. In the aftermath, Dad demanded explanations. Mom was too stunned to form coherent thoughts. Relatives shook their heads in disgust. A few even left, not wanting to witness more drama. Eventually, Dad cornered me in the hallway. Son, I'm sorry. We had no idea she was doing all this. I feel like a fool. For the first time in years, I saw genuine remorse in his eyes. I tried to tell you, I said quietly, but she's persuasive. He nodded, looking defeated. And that letter to James, was that from her as well? I gave a slow nod. We can't prove it 100%, but we're pretty sure. We haven't taken legal steps yet, but if it continues, we might have to. Dad closed his eyes, like the weight of the world was on his shoulders. If she sent that letter, He trailed off, unable to finish the thought. Later, Mom approached me, tears in her eyes. David, I'm so sorry. I should have listened. I just wanted peace in the family. My heart ached, but I mustered a small, forgiving nod. We all did. A week passed in tense silence. Then James informed me of a new development. He'd received more harassing messages anonymous, but clearly referencing personal details. They got more aggressive, suggesting that if he continued associating with me, things could get ugly. So James and I finally made the decision. We were going to the authorities. We brought printouts of the messages and the recorded voice clip to a local attorney Tom had recommended. The attorney explained, These messages could indeed qualify as harassment and threatening behavior. Have you spoken to the police? We exchanged glances, nerves jangling. Not yet, James said, but we're ready if it continues. The attorney advised us to file a report to protect ourselves should Dove escalate. Feeling sick to my stomach, I made the call. It felt surreal, filing a police report against my own sister. But sometimes, you reach a point where you must protect yourself from even family members. That same week, I learned from Dad that he and Mom decided to revoke Dove's access to their home, at least until she sought professional help. She won't talk to us, Dad confided with a heavy sigh. She says we're all against her now. I felt torn, a conflict between relief and sorrow. She brought this on herself, I reminded myself, but it still hurt to see Dad so broken. One chilly evening, I got a frantic text from James. Dove showed up at my apartment. She's demanding to talk. Please come over, I need backup. My heart pounded. Was this a trap? A last-ditch attempt at manipulation? I grabbed my jacket and drove over. By the time I arrived, I found Dove in the parking lot, face streaked with tears, shouting at James, who stood near his door looking frightened. I stepped out of my car, voice firm. Dove, calm down. She spun, eyes wild. You turned him against me. You took my family away. How could you? James tried to defuse the situation. Dove, you need to leave. I'm sorry, but this behavior, it's not right. She let out a bitter laugh, tears still glistening. Oh, so now I'm the villain because I wanted to protect you from him? I took a step closer, trying to keep my voice steady. This isn't about me winning or you losing. It's about you crossing every line of decency. You threatened James, manipulated my friends, lied to our parents. Enough. For a split second, I glimpsed raw desperation in her eyes. I was scared, David, she cried. Scared you'd abandon me, that I'd have nobody if you took James and everyone else away from me. Don't you see how lonely I was? My chest tightened. Loneliness doesn't justify terrorizing people, I thought. But a small voice inside me felt a pang of pity. Why not just talk to me? Why sabotage everything? She shook her head, tears flying. Because you never listened. Nobody ever listens to me unless I force them to. Before I could respond, the sound of sirens cut through the night. Blue and red lights flickered across the parking lot. Someone James or a neighbor had called the police, worried about the shouting. 2 officers approached, hands poised near their belts. Everyone okay here? We got a call about a disturbance. James quickly explained, voice trembling. She showed up uninvited, started yelling. We've had issues with harassment before. Dove's demeanor shifted in an instant. She wiped her tears, trying to appear calm and victimized. But one of the officers recognized James from earlier visits. He'd gone to ask questions about the threatening letters. They politely but firmly asked Dove to leave the premises and warned her about trespassing and harassment. Under the glare of flashing lights, she had no choice but to comply. As she got into her car, she threw me one final glare, her voice trembling with rage. You'll regret this. I stared back, forcing myself not to break eye contact. No, Dove, you will. After that night, James proceeded with an official restraining order, citing the repeated threats. Dove, already on shaky ground with our parents, found herself cut off from financial support. She'd been living partly off Dad's goodwill and credit cards. Suddenly, those funds vanished. Word spread among our extended family and acquaintances about what had happened. The voice recording, the false rumors, the threatening letters, all of it came to light. Dove's once coveted social circle shrank. People she had manipulated realized how close they'd come to being victims themselves. Some sympathized with her meltdown, but most were too unsettled by her behavior to stick around. In a matter of weeks, everything she'd carefully built her image, her alliances crumbled. She had to face the consequences, losing her grip on the family, losing friendships she only saw as pawns, and having a possible mark on her record if she violated the restraining order. Meanwhile, I found myself strangely liberated. For so long, I'd lived in fear of her cunning, her ability to sway people. But now, all her manipulative illusions were stripped away. James, still by my side, gave me a supportive clap on the shoulder. We made it through, man. I nodded, exhaling deeply. Yeah, we did. Days turned into weeks. Dad invited me over for a quiet dinner, just him, Mom, and me. The house felt bigger without Dove's presence. We sat at the same dining table where so many conflicts had brewed. Mom served a simple casserole, glancing at me with a sorrowful smile. Dad's face was etched with regret. Son, I'm sorry for not believing you sooner. It's hard to imagine your own daughter doing something like that. I never wanted to see it. A heaviness filled my chest, but also relief. I understand. She's your daughter too. We all fell for her act. Mom reached out to squeeze my hand. We love you, David. We hope you know that. Even if Dove never apologizes, we want to make things right with you. I offered a small, genuine smile. I love you both too. I just need time to heal. This whole thing hurt me more than I can put into words. We talked late into the night, reflecting on moments of the past, reevaluating how we got to such a dark place. It wasn't a neat or tidy resolution, but it was a chance to rebuild trust within our fractured family. James and I grew closer than ever. The ordeal had forged a bond that went beyond friendship. He often joked, "We're basically brothers now, just minus the DNA." And I'd laugh, thankful I hadn't lost him to Dove's manipulations. Months have passed. Dove never publicly apologized or admitted fault. Last I heard, she moved to another city, trying to start fresh. Maybe she's learning, maybe not. But I no longer live in constant fear of her interference. The restraining order stands, and so does my determination to stay clear of her toxicity. I've come to realize that sometimes family isn't defined by blood, but by who stands with you in the storm. My father, mother, and I are rebuilding. James remains a friend who saw me at my lowest yet didn't abandon me. I've gained a newfound confidence. If I could face my sister's manipulative empire and watch it topple, I can handle whatever life throws at me. I won't lie, there are nights I still lie awake, replaying old memories, wondering how someone I grew up with could choose to be so cold. But I also remember that day in our living room when she was finally exposed. The look on her face when people realized the truth, it was the day I stopped feeling powerless. In the end, I won. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I reclaimed my life, my voice, and my sense of worth. Dove tried to destroy everything I held dear, but she only ended up exposing her own darkness. Maybe, just maybe, one day she'll find a way to make peace with herself and those she's hurt. If she ever does, I'll be here, still standing stronger, wiser, and free from her manipulative chains. Final word. If you're reading this and you've been through something similar, know that you can rise above it. Even when the manipulator is your own flesh and blood, you have the right to stand tall. Don't let gaslighting, guilt-tripping, or lies define you. Truth will prevail, even if it takes time. And that's my story. The story of how my sister tried to break me, but ended up breaking the illusion she lived in. The scars remain, but they remind me of the strength I never knew I had. I'm no longer the quiet, insecure kid overshadowed by a cunning sister. I'm a man who survived the storm, and I'm still here to tell the tale.